Hi. Well, this show is called The Exploding Shadow, and this is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. Well, we are definitely at the core of the storm now. Things are going wild, and the black moon, the moon's apogee, just changed hexagrams yesterday, June 10, and you probably have felt it already. The energy shifted dramatically yesterday. Lots of really unbelievable stuff was pushed out into the open. We are in for a wild ride into the end of July, and I'm telling you why. So let's talk about the black moon. Actually, to start with, I wanted to quickly show you, this is from July 4. This was that epic lightning storm on the night of June 4 in Washington, and the lightning struck multiple times and right into the Washington Monument, that big obelisk several hundred feet high, which is the true symbol of the dark forces. There's obelisks in Washington, which is on the 77th degree of western longitude. Just keep that in mind, 77, you know, all these double numbers. And there's another obelisk in London and the third one in Rome. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of showing you the intensity of where we're at. The obelisk being struck by lightning at the symbol of takedown of the deep state. That's what the cosmos showed us here with this lightning storm. Now let's go to this screen and this one here. Actually, let me first start you with this one. Okay, where is it hiding? That's the one I wanted to show you. So this is the moon's orbit, and you see there's a place where the moon is farthest away from Earth, which is called its apogee. Which, okay, let me just read you here what I wrote. I guess it's easier for me and more concise. So the black moon is the most powerful vortex in space, and that's the lunar apogee, which is moving around the zodiac in 9-year cycles. Every 9 years it comes back to the same place, and for 9 months this power point is in the same sign. It's in Aries since January 27, 2020, and will be in there till October 20. Astronomically speaking, as you see, the black moon is the spot where the moon is farthest from Earth. Metaphorically, we might call it the deepest trench in the ocean. It's that bottomless pit where all the unresolved emotional garbage is piling up and accumulating. So that's where we find the collective shadow in astrology. Sum total of all repressed and unprocessed emotions, and naturally in a birth chart that's our personal shadow. But as we speak here of mundane astrology, of event-based astrology, following the wave of time unfolding, watching what's happening right now in the skies, affecting everyone. So it's the collective, what we see unfolding. Naturally, we would like to refrain from going to that spot. I guess it makes sense. The moon's apogee quite literally is our blind spot. So anyway, when there's light shed on it, then we have no choice. We have to look at it and find the liberation, the light at the core of darkness. That's how we know it, that is a truth. So, however, fact is, in order to spiritually evolve, we have to face our shadows, right? We have to bring the unconscious into the light, individually and collectively both, facing that which we've pushed aside, whether it might disturb or frighten us. That's the place where redemption is found. Yes, light is found at the very core of darkness. So let's now look at the chart. Why I'm so excited? Let me show you. This is the chart, the ingress chart of that moment when the black moon was at 15 degrees 0730 in Aries. That is, I'm just pointing it out here. That is here, 15 degrees 07 and 30 seconds. That is the line where the new energy kicked in. That was yesterday, June 10, very early in the morning, Washington times, 3:29 a.m. And as I say, this energy will prevail all the way into the end of July. So what this point now in that hexagram is doing, it is shocking us. That's the hexagram 51, that's its name. It's shock arousal. Let me just go there and show you quickly. So just want to run you by here this too. This is my own website where I have all the breakdown by degree of the, and I give you here a little history of where that information is coming from. So my website, it's not a new one, it's an old one, is thecosmoswithin.org. And then if you click here on that big on that picture, you get the big wheel. And here, this is the full zodiac. This is based on the teachings of the human design system, which is a very powerful system. I'm using it since more than 20 years, and it's also very enlightening in terms of your own astrology. I don't want to go too deep into this. I just show you here is the degree breakdown of all the different 64 hexagrams. So for example, if you go here, this is 1507 till 2045 Aries is hexagram 51. That is the one we're talking about right now. So let's go back to the chart here. So what you see here is Uranus was dead on at the ascendant. That really just made me twice as aware. This is big stuff. When Uranus is so centrally placed, and Uranus has been activated lately in many times. On that day, Uranus was exactly 30 degrees away from Chiron. And another body I will introduce in a while, actually in my next video, will be Nessus. In the American chart, Nessus is at exactly 9 degrees Pisces. And just a little introduction to Nessus. Nessus is a very dark centaur character linked to abuse, pathological behavior, the ugly truth, and all the repulsive energies we have to look into in our present time. In these next 7 weeks, lots will be coming up into the collective consciousness. That's what all this indicates. So Nessus, Chiron and Uranus, and Chiron being at the midpoint of the three, showing that it's all about healing that shadow, finding resolution. so we can move on into the golden age, because that's awaiting. Once we are done with all that dark stuff, then we are truly ready, as President Trump has said many times, the best is yet to come. So, but before we get to that, we first have to really pass through and digest, forgive, let go, leave all that behind, and know that justice is coming. True justice, probably the first time in thousands of years, where everybody is looked at in the same way. Blind justice, it has also been called, that is coming. We see many signs, and it's really now just coming in as an avalanche in the next few weeks, all those revelations. So the last 7 weeks, the black moon was in hexagram 21, which was also quite a radical, difficult time. As we all know, 21 is biting through. It's the energy of, which is very rough, which is about biting through obstacles, radically clearing out what stands in the way, cracking down on crime and bringing criminals to justice. It's also that cracking down on the public, which we have seen with all that restriction and the stay-at-home orders and all the excessive measures which were taken, very much in that line. That's pretty much done and over with now. These are just the last few remains, and I mentioned it in an earlier podcast. Between May and June, these are weeks the public is waking up, and it's about taking back our power. That's pretty much it, to reclaim our sovereignty and say we are not ready to be enslaved in any way. We are free. We are responsible for our own actions. We don't allow to be incarcerated in our own homes. So this Uranus here is amazing. I mean, it's really blowing open the big hole of which hides all that stuff we have we knew about. I mean, many of us knew about, but the big public still has been totally ignorant, as the media have been repressing. So also here is Pluto at midheaven together with Arrokoth. I talked about Arrokoth several times. Arrokoth is the one which shows us the full picture, which allows us to put all the pieces of the puzzles in place. Pluto, the big destroyer on one side, clearing the site for the new structure to be rebuilt, squared by ARIES. Actually, this is a multi-year aspect, this ARIES-Pluto square, which is indicating it's the questioning phase. Everything is questioned, everything is looked behind, unraveled. ARIES is the shaker, the one which throws in questions, makes us think twice of what we see. So this is a geometry, Pluto and ARIES, which is exact for more than 2 years. As I say, in January it was exact first time. Just in a few days, on the 14th, there will be the second exact square when Pluto by retrogression is getting back to the exact 90-degree angle. It's very close already, so within a few degrees this aspect is closed for a whole, as I say, 2-year period. That's how slow planets work slowly saturating the subject they're representing, and then there is these few exact hits when the wheel is respun, you could say, and things are re-accelerating. And that's also when a planet, a point, a power point moves into a new sign, new hexagram. It's a kind of a birth moment which sets the pace for that whole period that planet or point is in, that energy expressing through it. So I want to just show you now the next chart here, which is the one with the American nation's birth chart, the midpoint. It just takes a moment here. Okay, I pressed the wrong button, sorry. So let's go back here. That's the chart I want to show you. Okay, so that was surprise number 2 when I did the midpoint, the Davison chart, which is a time-space midpoint between the American People's Chart, July 4, 1776, and that moment when the moon's apogee, the mean apogee, actually changed into that degree 150730 Aries. So the midpoint here brought Uranus exactly at midheaven, you see, by 1 single minute of arc. So this is exceptional. This is in the first degree of Sagittarius, Sagittarius being the sign of the rebel, the truth seeker, of expanding our knowledge, of going even farther into new territory, to question everything. I guess this is really the big thing about Sagittarius. It is the sign of going far, like the arrow shows. It's shooting out into the universe to find that end of the rainbow, you could say. Now this chart, in general, this is a dynamic chart, like the transits, the present positions in the sky. This is moving at half the speed. That's kind of the midpoint, the hinge, where the energies meet of what is going on now on a general level, collectively, and what the American nation is representing as their core energy they were created under. Just quickly bring that in here. This is the chart I'm using as a base chart, which was rectified by no one else than Dane Rudihar, the great astrologer of the 20th century, one of my personal heroes. So this chart is extremely accurate, has proven over and again to be showing what is going on, has been the base for many predictions, exact predictions to the day. Sagittarius rising 1313, that's very close to what's called the Great Attractor, which is a powerful force of evolution, of moving. It's kind of like a great magnetic force which pulls us to great expressions, deeds, manifestations, and no surprise that the American nation is the leading nation in the world in many ways. It's the one last superpower, if you want to use that word, and it will be the one bringing the big change into the golden age, where the war is fought, where we are defeating the dark forces. So just want to point out 2 degrees Libra midheaven, and when we go here into this midpoint chart again, then you see Jupiter is here approaching that degree, so Jupiter will be at the midheaven point in about 2-3 weeks. So we are really at the culmination point here in many respects. The next one I want to put your focus on is this one here. So we have here the moment when the black moon enters that critical hexagram of shock, of arousal, of sudden surprise. And let me just go back once more and read you here a little bit about that hexagram, as I have it here on my screen anyway, ready to do so. This is thunder below and thunder above. The symbol of startling movement. Let me make this a bit bigger here. Shake, the beginning of movement, shocking, the thunderclap, action, motion, sudden change, surprise. Shock intimates ease and development. When the time of movement which is indicated comes, the subject of the hexagram, which would be the nation in that context, or the general public, actually this is for the whole world, not just for the United States. Everybody in their own way experiences this for the next 7 weeks, that power of the exploding shadow, of bring everything out into the open. So the subject of this hexagram will be found looking out with apprehension and yet smiling and talking cheerfully. So the outcome finally is positive with this hexagram. The movement is like a crash of thunder which terrifies all within 100 miles. He will be like the sincere worshipper who is not startled into dropping his ladle and cup of sacrificial spirits. The I Ching is probably the oldest divinatory system there is on our planet, as old as 5,000 years, and probably even older than that. And it has 64 different hexagrams, which are 64 different combinations of 6 lines of binary code. Very amazing it was in the 50s when our genetic code was first decoded, and we found there were 64 combinations of gene sequences. So this is exactly mirroring that, and we could think that this system, the I Ching, is definitely related to that coding of our genes. The ancients were definitely knowing much more than we would think in our present times. So let's go back to the astrology here. So, as I said, this is the midpoint chart again between the United States, the nation's birth, and the present moment. And we see here the sun, the black moon are just barely 1 degree apart. That was yesterday morning. So this will be exact as this chart moves half the speed. That would be tomorrow, the 12th. Sometime early morning, and tomorrow is a big day, Friday is a big day, Saturday is a big day. We will see a very fast succession of events, and I will do a second video which shows you what's coming in the next few days. There's a few real major alignments, Nessus being one of them. for now, I just want to say this is hinting at that we really come to a critical juncture where all of a sudden the doors will fly open and there will be widespread shock and surprise, naturally to various degrees. People who already know kind of what's coming, not so much, but still the majority is in the unknown. Let me just show you one more picture which I had ready here for you, which is this one. So this is the black moon or the lunar apogee, and the mean, the medium, the axis where that point is oscillating around is that dotted line here at the center, and then here the red points, that curve, that are the monthly closest moments the moon has with Earth, and you see it's kind of waving quite largely. If you see, this is 30 degrees, this is 0 Gemini, 0 Cancer here, and this is 4 months time here. It's a bit hard to see. I did that, let me just blow it up a little bit so you see. Let me see if I can do that. Yes, I think I can. So you see, this is just an example here. This is a 4-month period, and this gray line is the place where the moon is farthest from Earth, oscillating. The green dots is when the moon actually is in those spots, and the red spots, as I say, is the opposite point when the moon is closest to Earth, which is having even a greater weaving motion. And overall, what really stunned me when I first did that graph is the similarity to our DNA spiral. The moon is probably one of the major reasons life has been able to grow, to start rooting itself. As they say, life started in the tidal zones of the oceans, and the ocean's movements are caused by the moon's gravitation. So if without the moon we wouldn't have tides, and without tides we probably would not see life on this planet. At least that's the theory. So the moon is extremely important in astrology, and I'm just really touching here on the black moon, which is that place where all the charged emotions are hiding, what we don't want to see, what we rather would bury into the deepest trench of the ocean. So let's go back here to the astrology once more, and so yeah, this is the chart here, right? We are still into this one. So you see it's in the first, second degree of Cancer and squaring Jupiter, and you remember that's where the midheaven is of the American chart. So there's, I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many things happening in this chart. There's the part of fortune conjunct ARIES in this midpoint chart, and conjunct Astrea, which is a asteroid that is resolving problems, issues, rolling its sleeves back, taking action on what is not okay. Again, Aries, the shaker, the force which frozen questions, which says, well, as long as we are not really understanding things, we have to dig deep and sort out conflicts. Arrokoth in the American Nations chart is here at 21 degrees Pisces. Arrokoth again, the one energy which just was added into the cosmic cocktail not too far in the past. Actually in November last year that body was named, which was discovered in 2014, just 1 year prior to New Horizons space probe meeting up with Pluto. And then, as it so happened, that space probe was able to take on a second job, if you want, after it had fulfilled its mission in 2015 of taking all these wonderful detailed photographs of Pluto and Charon, its moon. That mission, which was started in 2006, so for 9 years that space probe had traveled out to Pluto. 2014, a year before it met its goal, Arrokoth was found, which kind of was just hiding behind a few years of travel farther into space, and was then on January 1st, 2019, the close flyby of New Horizons spacecraft with that body, which then later on was named Arrokoth, which is a Native American word for sky, standing under the open sky. So this is a relatively small body, but size doesn't matter. It is the energy which is added, which is brought into consciousness, and Arrokoth definitely has been already hard at work throughout the year 2019, as it was prominently brought into consciousness on January 1st, 2019. So the whole year of 2019 already was under that star, if you want, of bringing clarity, of bringing pieces of the puzzle together, of understanding the bigger picture. So we are on track here, and Arrokoth is being strongly focused also in the American chart. Just want to show you here quickly before I end this video. It's at 2133 in Pisces, as I said just a minute ago, squaring Mars, opposing the Black Moon and Neptune. So this is a very critical structure here, a powerful geometry centering on Mars, and here is also TX300, which is a rough energy. It's kind of that forceful stomping one's foot down in the 7th house. Yes, so there's a little bit of that kind of world police thing the United States has been engaging in for so many decades, which definitely hasn't made them too many friends in some places, and which has to definitely be scaled back. We don't have to do that. Everybody is responsible for their own lives in the end. We have to give freedom and sovereignty to everyone. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick way to just listen to what I have written. I publish regularly on my Facebook page. It's my venue at this point. It's called Celestial Rhythms, as I said, and I have the link below here where you can go, and if you like what I do, support me, click like and subscribe, or become part of the Celestial Rhythms community. Then you get all the latest updates. Anyway, thank you for joining here and listening, and I will be back very soon again with some new updates. Okay, bye bye. Love you all.